What's camera? Good evening, good afternoon, whatever time of day it is. Ladies and gentlemen, 3i Atlas. There's been an urgent update on the scenario with this, whatever it is, the space rock, the aliens, the comet, the asteroid, whatever 3i Atlas is, guys, it's doing some very strange things right now. There's recently, 44 minutes ago, been a new update from, well, I'll get onto these posts in a minute. But look, guys, I want to just go over some things I previously said about 3i Atlas. With its trajectory going past the sun in when we're at the opposite side of the sun, again, this sounds so, it's like one of those things I remember saying, and it'll be on the live, it'll be on the videos, guys. I remember saying this, and I can remember when I said it thinking, yeah, it's just going to be a space rock. It's just going to be a space rock. But one of the things I specifically said was, if this is aliens, what you would expect to see happen is it slow down as it gets closer to the sun. As it starts to get closer to the sun, you would likely see it. If it was aliens, they would turn their reverse thrusters on, because then they would want to take that speed away, because they would want to go in an orbit at the other side of the sun so we can't see them. You see where I'm going with that, guys? So if it is aliens, like we're here and this is the sun and we're here, this asteroid or 3i Atlas, whatever it is, it's going to come round and then it's going to be there while we're there, and then it's going to go off. Now, what I said was, if it is aliens, what I would do if I was the alien ship, I would put myself in an orbit at the same orbit as Earth, but on the other side of the sun, so we can never see them. You see where I'm going with that? And what I also said is, if that happens, that means that they are operating on known physics. And if they're operating on known physics, it means that humans have a chance to fight them. It does. That's what it means, guys. You can put in the chat, in the comments, you can argue as much as, oh, hang on a minute. You guys can argue as much as you want. That is the reality. If this is aliens, this is what I said previously. If this is aliens and they're coming towards the sun, they would slow down and put themselves in an orbit at the other side of the sun so we can't see them. That's what I do. Now, whether this is a Vanguard probe for the main event that's coming in 2029, I don't know. What I do know is, and I'll read you the articles now, guys. I'm only double streaming today, guys. I'm only on YouTube and X. I can't be bothered with TikTok at the moment. What I will do, these two articles I'm going to go from, I will link them in the description. Not now, but afterwards. So if you're watching later on, it's you'll be able to click the links in the description. So this is an article from the Daily Mail 2 days ago. Again, totally missed it because crazy stuff was happening. I'm just reading this, guys. This was from the Daily Mail, 22nd of October, 2025. Scientists baffled as interstellar visitor appears to reverse thrust before vanishing behind the sun. Literally, that is what I said you would see if it was aliens. I'll read on a little bit more and then I'll go to this other article that's just updated 44 minutes ago. Astronomers tracking the mysterious interstellar visitor 3i Atlas have revealed that the object has performed a dramatic tail reverse, now pointing away from the sun. The change comes just months after Hubble Space Telescope images captured an unusual anti-tail of jets and particles streaming towards the sun instead of away from it. So what we're understanding here, and look, guys, I'm not gonna, I'm not an expert on these things. If it's guns, tanks, bombs, I'm all over that. If it's celestial mechanics, I'm a little bit behind. I'm probably not where I should be. It would make sense that if this is aliens, and I'm certainly not saying it's aliens, I'm saying that previously I've said that you would expect to see this do, slow down. which is what the Daily Mail's saying here. So that's an article from, like I said, guys, I will link this down below. That's an article from the 22nd of October 25. Now, there's just been another update. This is from 44 minutes ago, guys. Hang on. Manhattan-sized space object 3i Atlas has grown a tail, a possible sign of alien maneuver. New images of the Manhattan-sized... I've not read this, guys. New image of the Manhattan-sized interstellar object has started to sport... I think this is the same article. They're just reporting on it later. Yeah, I think So this is just the same. So this is just the same article, and they're repeating it again. But look, guys, you know, it does seem to be. I mean, from what I'm getting, it does seem to be slowing down. There's quite a few outlets reporting on this. Now, I don't know where they get. I mean, they might be getting all their source from somewhere that's debunked. You know, but it does look like it's slowing down. Now, I've said all along, if it was aliens, you would expect them to slow down as they're approaching the sun, put themselves in an orbit. We can't see them. The good news about that is if they're having to slow down, that means that they're not using warp drives or interdimensional travel or some sort of Clark tech. They're using Newtonian physics. And if they're using Newtonian physics, we can kill them. You know, and that's the reality. So there we have it, guys. 3i Atlas is becoming very strange, and it's starting to look like aliens. Jessica is saying, please could you ask how many of us believe there are aliens out there? Jessica, how many of you believe there are aliens out there? Are we talking on 3i Atlas, Jessica, or are we talking about 3i Atlas, or are we talking about Jessica, do you mean how many of you guys think that there are aliens in general, which is like a mathematical certainty for me? You know, it has to be, you know, if the universe is what we believe it is, it's like a mathematical certainty. I'm personally not convinced that little nanus with big eyes and elongated foreheads have got into little tin cans and whizzed across the cosmos. Under known physics, it's impossible. So if you could let me know a little bit, elaborate a little bit on that one. Philip Gray is saying, we're really not the cleverest. Anyone ever heard of the dark forest theory? Yeah, so the dark forest theory is it's one of the, well, I think it's a solution actually to the Fermi paradox. So the Fermi paradox is, if life's so abundant, where are all the aliens? And the dark forest theory is that everybody's like kind of, nobody wants to make any noise, because as soon as you make any noise, you get splattered. Because if there is some sort of, you know, overreaching overlord aliens, they're not going to want anybody to threaten them. So they will take out any civilization before they become a threat. Templar Matt is saying the maths prove that there are aliens out there. Yeah, look, guys, just like the odds of probability. You know, if there are like more stars than grains of sand in the world, and each one of those stars has planets orbiting it, then it's like a mathematical, almost a well, nothing certain, but like, it's almost a mathematical certainty that there is other intelligent, you know, and I'll go one further. I will say there is other intelligent life out there as well. Have any of you guys seen that Candice Owens video that she did earlier saying, like, she said 3 people, like, she said Elon Musk, Sam Altman, and somebody else. She said they were aliens or something. And I'm like, Where do you go with that, guys? Where do you go with that? I personally don't think they're aliens. My take is saying there are some really good scientific papers on 3i Atlas proving it is a strange rock. It's not doing anything to say it's aliens. Nothing. So the reason I've got on this live stream today is just to point out, and I will put the link in the description, guys. Look, I'll be quite clear. I don't have a telescope. I mean, it could all be. I mean, let's be honest. 3i Atlas could just be a lie. I mean, how do any of us really know that it's there? I don't have a telescope. I don't have the means to see it. I'm going from the information that's given to me from mainstream media, which is the information that you guys have got, and I'm giving you guys my speculation. So I'm going to say what I said before, what I said months ago. Well, whenever it was first, whenever it was first found, and they found out that it came really close to the sun. One of the things I said was, if this was aliens, and guys, I'm going to be quite clear, I don't know if this is aliens, and it's probably not going to be aliens, but it's doing some, well, and I'm reading this from the Daily Mail, guys, okay? Scientists baffled as interstellar visitor appears to reverse thrust before vanishing behind the sun. That is literally what we said would happen. Because if it is, and it's going really fast, it needs to get rid of all that speed to get in an orbit, so it gets captured. Because if it's going too fast, the sun's gravity well won't be able to catch it, and it'll just continue. So the fact that it's, like this article saying, having to reverse thrust means it's having to slow down because it doesn't have any fancy technology to make it go fast, fast, stop. It can't slam the brakes on. It takes time. So two things, you know, they have to slow down and they have to use the sun's gravity. Two things which we understand, it's Newtonian physics. Philip Gray is saying, how long are we been sending signals? I know 3i Atlas came from the same direction as the WOW signal. Yeah. Well, I read this. It did come in from the similar direction. Now, it said it came within 9 degrees. Now, 9 degrees sounds a long way off to me. I said this. I said 9 degrees was a long way off, but then somebody in the chat said, when you're talking about space, 9 degrees isn't a lot off at all. And I was like, really? Because that seems like a lot off to me. But again, guys, listen, I don't know. Natalie is saying, I think we are the aliens. We certainly are somebody's alien. We are aliens to someone. Came on the rock that I think we are the aliens. Came on the rock. Sounds like a cocktail. That mashed up the that mashed up the dinosaurs, or a child's science experiment. So the strange thing about humans is we've got like it's like an extra chromosome or something. So I think humans, I think I may be getting this the wrong way around. So either humans have got 23 chromosomes, but 2 of them are in the same pod, or something like that. But basically, what's happened is, I think they've like tied 2 telomeres together, two telomeres, and that doesn't happen in nature. And guys, listen, if I'm slightly wrong about this, please somebody correct me. So in nature, telomeres always grow like this. When humans do genetic engineering and genetic editing, what they will do is they will touch these telomeres. They'll bring these telomeres together. Now, the only place that's found on Earth is in genetically modified stuff that humans have genetically modified. Well, guess what? We have the exact same DNA makeup. So somebody, round about 200,000, if you want to go back through antiquity, you can see it's where Darwin's theory of evolution falls short when it comes to humans, because everything evolves, guys. You know, I mean, you can call it evolution, you can call it natural selection, call it whatever you want. I'm not convinced on it, but it falls short when you come to humans. About maybe 200, I don't know, 200,000 years ago, humans just appeared. You know, and there's a missing link, and nobody's ever bridged that missing link. Philip Gray saying that's right, Sean. I'm assuming that's with the chromosomes. I always, sometimes when I'm explaining it, I'm not an expert in this field, so sometimes I get these things mixed up. Endeavour to Preserve is saying the sun travels 514 million miles an hour while dragging the entire solar system with it around the Milky Way. Yeah, it does. It's phenomenal. In order to pass through our elliptic orbits, it's crazy math. It is crazy math. So, like, we all think, don't we, that the sun's static? It's not. We all think about, like, you know. So imagine this being the sun. We all think about the sun being static. Sorry, Endeavour to Preserve. I'm going to have to take your question now so people can see. We all think that the sun is static and the planets rotate or orbit around us, which is a fair model. That's the 2D model. The 3D model, I like to think the 3D model is like a screw. The sun's going like this, and all the planets are trying to catch it. That's the reality of that model. Oh, hang on. Pip, that's me, bro, is saying we are certainly an alien species of some kind, I'm sure. So if you like, you know, these theories about humans being the aliens, you know, they came back from, like, I think the first guy that went mainstream with this was like there was the guy who wrote Chariots of the Gods, and there was Zecharia Sitchin. And what I think Zecharia Sitchin articulates it better because he gives like he gives a reason, but you know, there's a lot of flaws in this as well. So Zecharia Sitchin's theory is that humans were genetically engineered, like hundreds of thousands of years ago, to help an alien race mine gold, because gold was needed for their atmosphere, because their atmosphere was failing. And if you put gold in the atmosphere or something, it helps with the atmosphere. Now, my main critique of that is there's plenty more gold flying around on asteroids, and it's a lot easier to get to than the gold on Earth. So it wouldn't, to me, it's like I don't really see where that's going. So, like, and again, you know, I don't know. But if you're an alien, you're on the alien ship, and you're like, right, are we going to go to Earth and dig for this gold, or should we just take that asteroid there and like take it away and take all the gold out of it? Because there's lots of gold flying around the cosmos, lots of it. Mr. Byte says, if Earth stopped spinning, we would all suddenly turn into soup. What kind of soup? Philip Gray is saying, good book, recommend it. I think there's Chariots of the Gods. There's the 10th Planet, or is it the 9th? I think it might be. I think it's by the 10th Planet by Zecharia Sitchin as well. And Philip Gray is saying, I've already booked my place. Sat here, I'm ready with my tinfoil hat on. Let's go. Books full of BS makes money, only gotta look at Scientology. Okay, so I'll argue for the book. I'll argue for the book then. And again, listen, guys, take everything with a pinch of salt. I'm reading this here off the Daily Mail. I don't know whether it's true or not. I know what I said previously, that this thing that's coming, I'll come back onto that in a minute, actually, and then we'll, this is only going to be a short live stream, guys. So the Watchman is saying the book's full of BS, makes money, only got to look at Scientology. So I agree. Ultimately, books are there because people want to make money. Now, I just argued against Zecharia Sitchin's theory. There's a lot going for it. He has a lot going for it as well. So, for example, why is gold so valuable? Why do we value gold above everything else? Our atmosphere is dwindling. It is, guys. Our atmosphere is absolutely dwindling. And perhaps the reason they came to Earth and didn't go for an asteroid is because they were traveling on a planet, maybe it was called Nibiru, and that Nibiru planet is on a very strict orbit, and they only have limited time windows to get off. So they didn't have potentially the means, the capacities to go chasing asteroids. So the Watchman is saying, and listen, the Watchman, I've seen these arguments as well. What I'm going to do is I'm just playing devil's advocate here. So the Watchman is saying Zecharia Sitchin lied about the translations. Do you speak that language? I know I don't. I don't speak that language. So who told you he lied about those translations? And what agenda did they have? Was their agenda to discredit it? It's very easy when you're not an expert in some field to try and to throw, especially when they're fields that are very complicated and very nuanced. Philip Gray, NASA is not back up and running. This is another reason that I'm getting very, my spidey senses are going. My spidey senses are going, guys. My spidey senses are going because NASA's, they're on this big US government shutdown. And of course, there'll be people behind the scenes working on this. Of course, people are going to be looking at it. But because they're on a shutdown, they don't have to release any images because they just say, no, we're not working. Right, listen, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to go through the crux of this video and I will close this down. I just wanted this to be a short one. I'll be back on like 8 o'clock or something. So earlier on, like maybe last month or something, in the live streams, what I said was, right, guys, listen, if this is start to slow down before it gets to the sun. And I see that as a positive thing if it's aliens, because one, it means they're working on known physics, and if they're working on known physics, we have a chance at defeating them in a good old fashioned space war. I'm not going to lie, guys. I'd rather be having a space war than fighting, other humans. So that's what we said like a month ago or something. I'm going to read you this article now. I'm just going to go with the headline. I'll maybe a paragraph or something. This is an article. I will link this in the description. From the Daily Mail on 22nd of October. Scientists baffled as interstellar visitor appears to reverse thrust before vanishing around the sun. NASA quietly deploys planetary defense tools after interstellar visitor shows odd light behavior. What? Let me click that. Let me see what's happening here. What's going on here? All right, guys, there's another headline here. And I'm only just reading this now. This is also from 22nd of October. I'll just read it, yeah? NASA quietly deploys planetary defense tools. What? Why have I not heard of this? After video shows odd light behavior, NASA has quietly made a major move to defend the planet. After the mysterious, guys, I promise you, I'm reading this in real time. After the mysterious interstellar object displayed more strange and unexpected behavior. The supposed comet, dubbed 3i Atlas, has just been added to the list of threats tracked by United Nations endorsed group focused on planetary defense against near-Earth objects. The International Asteroid Warning Network works alongside institutions across the world that can detect, track, and study near-Earth objects to assess potential Earth impact threat. 3i Atlas is the first interstellar object ever added to the list, triggering a worldwide drill aiming at improving detection skills for space rocks and preparing Earth for a... Right, okay. I think this was more of an exercise thing. Sorry, guys, I'm reading this in real time. I've not read this before. This is one of the things that's like really got my spider senses up. I'll just read you this bit, guys, and I'll jump back to the chat. The Daily Mail reached out to NASA on Wednesday, but the agency maintained that the entire space program is currently closed due to the ongoing government shutdown and did not comment further. That's the thing that got my spider senses up. The US shutdown right now. Like right now. You know, that really did get my spider senses up. Yeah. Totally jumped out with the dark, that one. Stop the space wars. Yeah, we're gonna have like, you know, we'll have all like people like, you know, we're gonna have like I don't know. Well, I'm trying to think of a chant. Aliens, welcome here. You can probe me by the ear. Alexander Cameron is saying it's the end of the world as we know it. I mean, look, guys, would anybody be surprised? Would anybody be surprised if, like, tomorrow morning it was like, you know, tomorrow morning or whatever? Well, I think it's the 29th, or whenever this asteroid's supposed to come out the other side of the sun. Would anybody be surprised if Donald Trump or somebody got up and it was like, listen, guys, there's you know, the asteroid thing, it's didn't come back out, so I don't know. You know, I don't know. Like, that is what you would expect to see. That, you know, if it is aliens. And again, guys, I'm going to be quite clear. The odds are it's probably not aliens, but it might be. Philip Gray is saying, didn't they welcome them in Independence Day? Guys, listen, here's one for you, right? Watch Independence Day back again and look for esoteric symbolism. Jesus, by the beard of Zeus and Odin's eye, watch Independence Day back again. Jesus Christ. Guys, listen, I've just thought of something here. I've just thought of something in real time while I'm on the chat, right? Okay. You know how I talk about subversion quite a lot when I'm doing other chats? We talk about ideological subversion, how it takes this length of time because you want that generation to have a certain mindset. What generation went to the pictures and watched Independence Day? I know I did, and I think I'm 40, what am I, 42, 43 soon? So it's our generation that went to watch Independence Day. So it's our generation who are like, yeah, right, we're not doing aliens. I am definitely not doing aliens. We're getting up in them F-22s, and those F-22s, you know, even if I have to do a crash course, I'm getting myself an F-22. I'm going to go smoke some alien ass. But that is weird that Independence Day was when it is, and now we have this here when we are. That is really weird. But yeah, sorry guys, what I was saying there. Go and watch Independence Day again, but like really go with just look out for the symbolism in Independence Day. It's phenomenal. It is. It really is. It's phenomenal. Natalie is saying, I watched it as a kid, Independence Day. It made me feel so uncomfortable. I left the room and didn't come back in. Listen, guys, I don't know. You know, I'm not one for welcoming aliens. I'm not. We've got our own problems. We don't need to import other problems. Ham and Eggs is saying it's just the Anunnaki coming back to fix the stupid problems. Maybe it is, guys. Maybe it is. I'm just gonna err on the side of caution. Imagine here's one. Well, here, listen, Matt, and I'm just thinking. Listen, guys, I'm just thinking out loud. Maybe you know these emergency warnings that everybody's got on their phones. Like they do them in Russia, they do them in everyone's phone. Like can take an emergency warning. Maybe the real reason to get these emergency warnings is because when the aliens come, that's how they're going to communicate with us all. And maybe we all need to get digital ID so the aliens can zap those people up. Who has got the digital ID? I want to suck some bread. It's safe and convenient. What's that other movie? That is it called Skyfall? No, that's James Bond. There's another movie. It's like a low budget movie, but they're like they're in a high rise. They're in like a block of flats in like America somewhere. That's quite disturbing. Something happens to their eyes and they get zapped up. Alexander Kerman is saying Armageddon. No, Armageddon's the one with Bruce Willis. This is gonna hang on. Let me just Google this. Skyline. That's what it's called. Yeah, Skyline. That thing is absolutely terrifying, guys. Absolutely terrifying. And they did another one as well, like I think it was called Beyond Skyline or something. Yeah, absolutely terrifying, that movie. Only got 2 stars. I thought it was good. Yeah, Watchman's saying it's Skyline. Gaming Party is saying, now that we are close to a war, USA, Russia, suddenly aliens appear. Yeah, listen, and look, guys, I don't talk about this much when I'm doing the other live streams because, you know, they get. One of the reasons I truly believe that that nobody's ever used a nuclear weapon is because they've been told not to use nuclear weapons by aliens. That is, honestly, guys, that is one of the reasons I don't talk about that when I'm doing the live streams. But when people talk about, Putin's going to drop this nuclear weapon, I'm like, not a chance. There's been plenty of opportunities for Putin. Well, there's been plenty of opportunities. There's been one opportunity when the Russians went into Kursk. Let me read you this, guys. Let me find it. So I'm gonna read this, guys. This is an account. Let me see if it's the right one. Yeah. Former US, if you guys know the story, you know what I'm talking about. Former US Air Force officer Robert Salas recently stirred conversation during a congressional hearing when he suggested that extraterrestrials are trying to send a clear message regarding nuclear weapons. Salas, who served as a US Air Force captain, shared his views in a discussion with Congresswoman Nancy Mace. Oh, get off ads. The exchange, recorded during a special hearing on UFOs, later shared on social media by the Total Disclosure podcast. One of the most striking claims from Salas is regarding an incident at Maelstrom Air Base in Montana. And guys, look, you get this is well documented. This is like well documented. It's not been debunked. You know, it's an actual thing. Maelstrom Air Force Base in Montana, where he alleged a UFO disabled 10 nuclear warheads. In this encounter, he described the UFO as having an eerie red glow as it sped through the night sky on March 24th, 1967. The then 26-year-old lieutenant reported that the UFO pilots appeared to have a depth understanding of missile systems. At the time of the incident, Maelstrom was in control of Minuteman intercontinental ballistic missiles (ICBMs). Today operates more advanced Minuteman III systems. In this exchange with Congresswoman Mace, Salas detailed how, despite the UFO shutting down the missiles, no damage occurred. No equipment was fired, nothing was damaged, he stated. Salas believes extraterrestrials are not hostile, but rather a pacifist species, implying their intention is peaceful, not aggressive. Look, guys, I'm always going to err on the side of caution. If there are aliens coming here, and look, if we're going down the aliens track, guys, if we're going full aliens, you know how I say I'm not convinced that they've come here in little tin cans saying nanu. I'm not. I don't think that's the case. But what I do think is I think they're traveling in an alternate dimension that we just can't see. And I know that's going to be wild for some people. And I know some people are going to be like, oh, God, that's wild. That's insane. That's not, I can see everything. Can you really see everything? I'm connected to the Wi-Fi, right? The router's there. I can't see the Wi-Fi, but my phone can pick it up. So I can't see the Wi-Fi, but I know it's there. That's an alternate dimension. It's an alternate reality. The information I can stream from the internet, I can't see the internet. I don't know. I can't see it. Where is it? My mum brought me a router once. And she said, Sean, can you show me how to use this internet? I went, what? She said, I need to know how to use this internet. I said, that's a router. I had to explain to her. Another example. Do you think a shark knows that a lion exists? Yeah. Do you think a shark knows a lion exists? Do you think a lion's like, yeah. Nah. You know if you could explain to a shark, to a lion, that under that water that he goes and drinks from or whatever, probably doesn't drink seawater, but you know how I'm going. Under that water, there's shit swimming around and like a whole ecosystem under there. The lion would be like, get your tin hat on. Put your tinfoil hat on. Seriously, that's what the lion would be doing. He'd be saying, put your tinfoil hat on. Likewise, if you got in the water and you said to a dolphin or a shark, whatever, jellyfish, maybe not a jellyfish because they're quite smart. If you want to know where aliens are, guys, cephalopods. So if you said to a shark, in shark language, whatever shark language is, if you said, listen, mate, up there, there's like people walking around and stuff, and like, you know, they've got like cars they drive, and like they fly. You know, the shark could be like, get your tin foil hat on, you conspiracy theorists. You're stupid. And everybody be laughing at him, like, oh, look at him there. He thinks there's lions up there that have like got fur and they don't swim. No, they breathe air. Well, yeah, he says the people up. He says there's stuff up there that can breathe that stuff. God, he's stupid. That's literally what would happen. Matt is saying, I don't see the aliens coming to Earth to interfere with humans. We would be like ants compared to them. They wouldn't bother with us. So here's the two things, you know, so, you know, I do understand, you know, this is a wide topic and there's lots of nuance in this. It's why one of the reasons I said, if this is aliens coming, you know, on this 3i Atlas, you would expect to see them slow down. And they, you know, and I will link it down. But in fact, can I do it now? No, I can't. Once this live stream is done, guys, I'll link the article below. But the article's from the Daily Mail, released on October the 22nd at 21:22 UK time. I'm assuming. Scientists baffled as interstellar visitor appears to reverse thrust before going behind the sun. Now, I guess it depends what kind of aliens they are, right? You know, if these aliens have had a total different evolutionary system to us, maybe we wouldn't be like ants to them. Maybe they'd be terrified of us. If just like, I don't know, if they had like I don't know, if they had like a rock on their planet that was like a monopole magnet. So a magnet that only has a North Pole or only has a South Pole. If you have a magnet that only has a North Pole or a South Pole, you solve the whole world. The whole world's energy problems are solved overnight. There's no wars. There's no famine. There probably will still be wars. But there's no, you know, all that stuff stops overnight. You have free energy. Just from like if on that planet, whatever processes, you can make a monopole magnet. Now I know that's, you know, almost impossible, but you know, I'm just giving you guys an example. So maybe that civilization didn't have the struggles that we had as our civilization, where we've grown up, we've become dependent on oil, we've become dependent on burning stuff. And burning that stuff means we're using resources. Those resources are fought over. So maybe, you know, another civilization just didn't have that part of their evolution, so they don't do it. And Helen is saying clocks go back Sunday. Yes, maybe maybe the aliens are gonna. In fact, hang on a minute. It's Sunday when the aliens are coming now. So maybe we're all just gonna wake up on. Maybe we're all gonna wake up on. Maybe we're all gonna wake up on Sunday and the aliens have done as clocks. So listen, guys, do you know that on Mars, so do you guys know the nuclear apocalypse theory about Mars? So one of the theories is on Mars, there was a nuclear war, and in that nuclear war, the Martians fled Mars and came to Earth. That's, you know, one of the theories. There's a few pointers to this. And again, this is known. This is not what I'm saying is not disputed. There are these little crystals found on Mars, and the only place that humans know, the only place that these crystals, that we've observed them as humans, these crystals, are in the aftermath of a nuclear explosion. And it's a very specific explosion. It has to be a nuclear bomb. You know, so the question is, how did those little crystals get on Mars? And the Watchman is saying we need to build a big craft in orbit, start venturing out. I think so. The Watchman, what a fantastic question. What fantastic comment, the Watchman. I agree 100%. You know, we need to stop. Oh, look, guys, I always say this. We need to stop all these ridiculous wars where we're killing one another. For what? You know, I mean, the loss of life in Ukraine is phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. It's a phenomenal, it's just unbelievable. You know, we need to stop that, and we need to start going out into the cosmos. Let's get, you know, why are we spending billions on killing each other? Wouldn't, like, you know, and like, you know, you've got kids growing up, you're like, oh God, yeah, gonna have to send my kid off to the grinder, gonna have to send more. Putin wants his souls. Donald Trump wants his souls. Wouldn't you rather be growing up into a world whereby you're getting, instead of news stories about conscription and rape and murders, wouldn't we like be able to deal with that shit, take control of our, you know, have your own identity and start colonizing the cosmos? Wouldn't it be better to look at your news feed and see a headline? Britain develops new drone to bring back resources from space, cutting down manufacturing times or whatever. China just develops new solar panel to orbit the sun and beam electricity to the workforce in space. Russia have just developed a new nuclear fission machine on the moon, and it's more efficient. You know, wouldn't they be better headlines? I think they would. Matt Templar might say war makes money and there's no money in space. Unfortunately, that's true, but it's also not true. There's a lot of money in, there would be a lot of money in asteroid mining. But again, you know, our whole system, like, what do we need money for? Like, what do we need money for? We don't need money. Money is just a store of goods, or, you know, it's just a store of work. You know, it's just a store of effort, really. Now, rather than money, I mean, energy is your real token. Like, energy, ultimately, you're like, you know, how much money do you spend on energy? I'm talking about petrol, diesel, gas, electricity. Energy is the real currency, guys. So if we just say, right, you know what, we're going to change our economy from a war economy to an exploration economy. Lisa Jane is saying, if aliens landed, they would soon go home because this world is such a mess. Yeah, we probably have to put them up in hotels. Right, listen, ladies and gentlemen, I only meant to come on here for like 20 minutes or something, but you guys have got me talking. I love talking about aliens, guys. I really do. I'm going to be back on later on today. I'll probably before 8 or something, 8 o'clock. I just wanted to do this I just wanted to jump on and do this, as it doesn't really fit into what's happening in the world. I guess you might do very quickly. Scientists baffled as interstellar visitor appears to reverse thrust before going behind the sun. Now, I said this would happen if it was aliens. I'm still not convinced it's aliens. I'm sure there's a logical explanation for it. But that said, I did say that this would happen. The good news is these aliens, if it is aliens, this particular group of aliens look like they're operating on known physics. And if they're operating on known physics, we can fight them. We have a fair chance at fighting them. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I am going to close this down now. I'll be back on later. Thank you for jumping on and hanging out with me this afternoon, guys. I'll see you later. And make sure you get, guys, listen, just as a precaution, make sure you get a good supply of tin foil.